importance of practice and mastering our minds, whether it's somatic inquiry and really mastering that, mastering the deprogramming of everything that is in the way of you being fully who you are, authentically, unapologetically, without the fear of being yourself, without the fear of your emotions, without the fear of expression, whether it's mastering that or whether it's really, really earnestly desiring a peace of mind, a quiet mind, a being here now, an awake state, right? A present state. Everything requires practice, whether it's that or playing a musical instrument and mastering guitar, classical guitar, or whether it's mastering tennis or mastering any other kind of sport that you really, really love, you really enjoy. So everything takes commitment, everything takes practice. So mastering the mind takes practice of concentration and focus. That's the only way. And what we think that might happen, all of a sudden we all, crave this ability to close our eyes and be in peaceful state of meditation. And somehow that peaceful state of meditation will linger with us into everyday life. And yes, I'll tell you, yes, it's possible. It would be the same commitment that you would do as you would commit to learn a new task, a new skill, a new ability, a new language, right? To really master it, we need at least 3 years or 5 years. But it has to be an everyday task that we do. So if you truly desire to be here now, if you truly desire this inner peace, or at least a big chunk of that peace that goes along with somatic inquiry and clearing your shadows and clearing your deficiencies and repression, that has to come along with awareness. So there's awareness piece, the wakefulness piece, and there's the somatic cleansing piece. They kind of go hand in hand, as if, two sides of the same coin. One is fully awake, the other one is fully human. So to really master that, we really have to commit to practice. We really have to commit to the fact of saying no. We're not saying shut up to our minds. We're saying, no, I'm not fueling this noise in my head anymore. What I'm going to fuel, I'm going to take this tool that I know that works for focus and concentration, whether it's inner sound, whether it's mantra, whatever your practice is, right? Whatever your spiritual practice. And I'm going to pray, and I'm going to be so one pointed, so focused, so one with whatever it is that I'm doing, that when the mind comes in, I'm going to say, no, thank you, and refocus on my practice and become one again with whatever it is that I'm doing, whatever it is, paying attention to the breath, paying attention to the sound, the inner sound, paying attention to being one with mantra, whatever it is that allows you, whether it's like the candle or the flame. If it's Zen, just really being here now, watching the floor, whatever it is, vipassana, right? Being with your sensations or being focused on the tip of your nose. Whatever is your practice, we have to master concentration. Otherwise, our mind will be as really the most annoying, distracting, noisy, and completely unbearable existence to live, because it's always in the past, it's always in the future, it's always creating this dissonance of duality in time, where here now, being in the body, is so much more freer, especially when we clean the body as well, out of all the imprints and blueprints of conditioning. So practice is super important. So if I really truly commit to practice, if I really say to the universe, say to life itself, this is my deepest intention to become a master of my mind, to become a master of guitar, to become a master of singing, to become a master of any other art, of photography, art, digital arts, whatever it is, programming, right? If we every day say to the universe, this is what I want, 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 by doing it, not but just like talking about it, right? By sitting there on the cushion every day, as much as possible. There'll be days, there'll be months that you're not going to be able to commit, and it's okay. But knowing and having that North Star within you, that's going to bring you back onto that same. Okay. So that is the beauty, that is the invitation, because imagine we all just took 5 years, between 3 to 5 years, to truly master our minds, to be quiet and to be one pointed, to a point where we constantly nourishing that until something deeply cracks, and that thin layer of existing in an ego state in a horizontal time frame just cracks under the weight of beingness that you are becoming when you are mastering your mind, when you're not putting the energy and the attention and the fuel of existence that you are into the mind existing realm of illusion. When you really start becoming and recognizing and remembering yourself as being, because that's what happens when we learn how to master our mind, we start getting those huge glimpses of just being. So when you become more and more of what you truly are, the feel, the full potentiality, the feel of existence, the isness that is vibrating, so present, so here, that we're so unfamiliar with, or constantly, it's like closer there than our breath, but we're not aware of it. So the more you become it fully, recognizing yourself coming back home, right? So when you fully come back home, when you can tell your mind, as soon as it becomes noisy with some worry or something, you could just like say, no, thank you. And it would shut up, because now you are the master of the mind. You're not enslaved by it. Life is no longer entranced by the limitation of the noise in the head and that attachment to an identity with a story. When we are knowing ourselves as the vastness in which stories arise and fall, and we no longer grasp on to the story for an identity, through somatic inquiry and through recognition of yourself as the existence itself, as the isness itself, as the frequency of prana, right? Frequency of aliveness, vroom, 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 constantly present. You're probably not aware of that because you're here. And you're here because also there's resistance and there's repression in you, in here, and in here, and in here, in your stomach, perhaps in your pelvis. There's so much trauma there too. And this noise in the head and this conditioned body are very much so one thing. So when we finally start transcending the noise and aligning our mind with our bodies, we can also liberate our bodies. But let's talk for a moment about the noise in the head. I will do for sure many other videos about the somatic cleansing that we all have to do. But the beauty of focusing and mind concentration and mastering the mind is the actual part that the availability of transcendence of human existence, not as a bypass. Bypass is a overused word in today's spiritual environment. And it's overused in a sense that it has its truth, right? It has its truth in the fact that people can go on forever, not recognizing who they are, just binging, honestly binging on good feelings of blissful feelings of satsangs, of retreats, spiritual teachers, giving them all the power due to their own repression of self, repression of their own power, repression of anger, repression of fear and hurt, and so on, right? But if it's used in the right way, if the energy of seeking is used in the right way to really find what you're looking for, not because they tell you what to do, because you are actually taking on, kind of like mastering the guitar. You need a teacher, right? There is a technique that is passed on. There is a a, a proof that is right there, appears as the teacher. There is a proof that I'm saying, yes, it's possible. I did it. You can do this too. There is that, right? We need that. So then if you use your seeking energy and then you take that technique and you as your own experiment, you do it and you commit to it and you try it and you do it again and you try it and you commit to it and not commit into it. Oh, I tried it for a week, it doesn't work. Or I tried it for a month, it doesn't work. Or I tried it for 3 months, it doesn't work. It's like always compare your spiritual practice to mastering any other skill. So if you try to learn a language, a new language, and you are not in the country of that language, right? It's a whole other minus. So you are not, let's say, spiritual practice. You're not living in a spiritual community where everyone meditates every day, right? So you're not learning the language. You're not in that country. So it will take you longer time to do it on your own. Okay. So you cannot learn a language in 1 month, in 2 months, in 3 months. It's going to be very, very, how would I say? It's going to be very basic. Okay. But if you commit every day to learning that language, even if you don't live in that country and you're not constantly are bathing by being immersed in the language, then in 4 years' time, in 5 years' time, if your commitment is to that and not fooling yourself by appearing to satsangs for 5 years in a row, waiting for something to happen without your actual participation and energy put into it, then nothing will happen. Then the same thing with the language, nothing will happen with just your desire for someone else to say something or to do something for you to all of a sudden embody the whole language. So the same thing, with practice, with meditation, like yoga was like yoga is actually a powerful transmission of real real techniques that work. And how amazing is that? It's like, here we are suffering, and here's the solution, here's the solution. And it's quite fascinating how we bamboozle ourselves to stay in our suffering, landing in belief that this must be not for me, not in this lifetime, it's not going to work. So if I just identified with that belief, it's like, forget about it. No matter what you do, it's not going to work. So it's checking those two things. It's using the energy of seeking, and it's checking yourself for any kind of landing identities. You have to believe that enlightenment is for everyone. You have to know that. Not even believe, okay, let me believe that, but like check for evidence. Yes, here, here, and here, and here. I can see it's possible. If they did it, I can do it. If Alina did it, I can do it. I just need to do it. I just need to do it. I just need to commit every day for half an hour, 40 minutes of focused concentration practice, whatever that is. And if you don't have any, reach out to me. I'll suggest you one. So if we're tired to live and with noise in our heads and in an ego state that is constantly grasping for a better me in the future that never arrives, it's constantly trying to fix itself. It's constantly creating noise in our heads that always distracts us from the present moment, from being in our bodies. We always live up here. Then, wow, life will pass you by without you even experiencing it, without you even noticing that all you did stayed for the sake of comfort and the sake of safety in your head. And the comfort and the safety that I'm talking about is unfortunately translates into suffering and pain and constant sabotage of your own happiness, of your own peace, and of your own inner serenity, intimacy with the world, intimacy with the others, intimacy with yourself. So back again, practice, 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 practice. Practice is fucking so important. And do you need the practice all the time? No, no. But once in a while, you'll have to go back to it. Yes, I needed practice for 4 years when I was freaking meditating every single day, doing yoga every single day, pranayama every single day, mantras. I was living, but my whole internal state was mantra, nonstop, nonstop, a japa japa. The repetition, internal meditation, japa, with the mala, without the mala, until you become so one, uniting awareness and the present moment. In this case, is sound, is the mantra. So the longer you become awareness present here for more than 5 minutes, if you can keep your focus and concentration, then another realm opens up to you, is available to you. You shift from the horizontal existence into the vertical or even alter dimensional isness that you are, the field of existence. You just shifted from this limited idea of yourself to like, wow, I am beyond words. I am the unmoved. I am the beyond. Unwounded, untouched by anything. Serene, pristine, precious. So fucking nourishing. So having your practice to get there is important. And then when you master an instrument, right, then you can jam. Then you don't have to think about it. Then you don't need to put so much energy there. It just flows. It's just here. It's just another skill that's going to be so important. And if you master it, I do believe in cyclical lives. I felt that I came here with the knowledge already. And if you have mastery of that skill, if you have to come back to re-experience whatever you missed on this lifetime, you carry that skill with you, right? That's why we have these beautiful geniuses that can play piano at 5 years old, that remember who they and what they are at 14 years old, 15 years old, right? For me, it's just spontaneous recognition happened when I was 14. And then when I was 25, it's just because there isn't a remembrance. I'm carrying that blueprint in me. So why not achieve this mastery this lifetime? Fucking master your mind. Stop being a slave. Master your mind. Clear your fucking body. Clear the somatic, repressed you. Become this full human that you're meant to be. And recognize your divinity, your beyondness. Is this what is here in those words right now? But it's so forgotten, so overlooked. Gosh, I wish everyone wakes up. I wish we all remembered. I wish we all lived in our bodies, not in our heads or repressed emotions. It's it's such a different way of being without fear. And I don't mean without the fear as a mechanism of survival. That's always going to be there. And that doesn't mean that ego is like poof, is evaporated. That's also going to be there as a sense of reference. It's the ability to function. But the emptier it is, which is just the body mind mechanism of survival that is like launched on and is frozen in time, frozen in our traumas, frozen in repression. So when that is liberated and when awareness is recognized, then we can fully live an embodied life. That doesn't mean that there's no challenges and growth as a human being. There is the invitation of that all the time. Life is never boring. Gee, Why would it be? Why would we live if there is a, you know, a final stage? There's always something to work on. There's always something to master. There's always something to put ourselves into practice, whether it's your finances, whether it's parenting, whether it's your service to the community, to the world, whether it's self love, and finally coming out of repression and committing to self value and self respect. By all means, being unapologetically you and saying no when it's no, right? There's so many things that life is constantly inviting us to. And our practices will be sabotaged. But if we have a North Star that leads us in the direction of where we want to go, whether it's mastering your mind, arriving to samadhi in meditations, right? Being able to get there because you know you mastered the technique where you direct your prana, you direct your life flow and focus it in a certain way that you make that bridge and you can jump from the horizontal experience into the vastness of being, right? So attending to that, whether it is, okay, I am suffering and I've done everything possible and nothing worked, then let me look inside and master somatic inquiry and processing and awareness based practice, such as Killaby inquiries or other practices, so that I can liberate this body from its past. So, what practices are you committed to? Distraction? Mastering watching Netflix? What are those hours and hours and hours you're spending on? What is this gravitational pull that you created and you mastered? Depression? Inaction? Laziness? What did you master? What did you give your time and your life to over and over again? Get curious. How are you killing yourself? Hmm? These are questions we really have to ask because we can just, without paying attention in the right direction, we get disease. We become so disconnected from life, so disconnected from ourselves, so disconnected from our sexuality, so disconnected from even our genders, become so disconnected. And the whole world is built on disconnecting you more and more and more so. So, can you find that one, that infinity within you, that infinity that is you? So, no matter what happens, you feel ultimately connected, not beyond that. It's not even connected. You're feeling so grounded, grounded in the fact that nothing, nothing, nothing can destroy this. Nothing can touch this. Nothing can hurt this. So perhaps you start living more fully. And it's not a walk in the park. You have to do somatic processing. You have to unrepress your emotions. That's definitely a part of that. We have to liberate our shadows. Otherwise, there is, wonderfully awake teachers and yet so many scandals, sex, power, what have you, right? It's just because there's just so much unprocessed material there. And the power was kind of given to them prematurely. So the power takes over and the ego hijacks into the power before doing the cleansing, before letting the washing, the liberation of the stuck energy, before lifting the lid to that pressure cooker you created in the childhood, repressing your power, repressing your vulnerability, repressing your authenticity, your sexuality. So practice, practice, practice. I'm going to end again here. Remember, if it's your spiritual practice, if it's meditation, or if it's something where you truly earnestly eager to wake up to who and what you are, you have to put hours of practice. There's no other way. There is no other way. And it does pay off. These wonderful techniques are absolutely proven and absolutely, some of them, insanely powerful to do exactly that. Master your mind. All right, reach out. Take good care. And much love to all of you. Get curious, get authentic, stop bullshitting yourself. Okay. I'm here if you need me.